Hey everybody, welcome to Tolkien Guide. We are happy to have with us Kaitlyn Facista, who's Tea with Tolkien, and you've got a book that's coming out very soon, correct? It's in February, I think,
Yeah, February 20th
February 20th.
coming
So
up.
yeah, we've had a chance to give a quick skim of advanced reading copy, and we're really happy to be able to have some time to chat with you about it. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about the book itself, and then I'd like to get into a little bit more of your background in Tea with Tolkien itself. But let's start with the book.
Absolutely. So the book is called Into the Heart of Middle Earth, Exploring Faith and Fellowship in J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. And it really is a spiritual journey for the Hobbit at heart. So, any Tolkien fans who are interested in diving deeper into the themes of Middle Earth and kind of looking at how they can carry those themes back into our own daily lives. That's a big thing for me is I believe that the Lord of the Rings can be transformative. No one who enters into Middle Earth returns home unchanged. And so for me, this book is about guiding readers through Frodo's journey mostly. I also do talk a little bit about Bilbo's story, but it's going through these great tales of Middle Earth and picking up different themes and values and virtues that you might want to apply to your own lives. And then asking yourselves, how can I make my own life more like a hobbit's life, kind of?
Yeah, it was a great read. I enjoyed going through it. You know, obviously Chad and I are long-term fans of the Lord of the
A
Rings, and
bit,
so we're
just a
Of
bit.
course, yeah.
it's a different audience potentially from I think a much wider, broader group that will enjoy your book and get things out of it. But how how long ago did you start this? Because you've been a Tolkien fan and in the fandom a lot longer, and this book is sort of a more recent output from you.
So I started Tea with Tolkien in 2017. So we're about 9 years old as a community. And then the book I started on about 2 years ago. So feels like it's been a really long time.
Yeah, it's been fun watching your progress just from your posts about it and things like that. What made you start the Tea with Tolkien community itself?
So, I mean, I've always been a Tolkien fan since I was a little kid, but as you grow up and you're out of school and you're kind of in the real world, it's hard to find other Tolkien fans to connect with. Like I was a new mom, and most new moms aren't super into the Lord of the Rings. And so I would be at like a play date, no one wants to talk about Finrod. And so I really did turn
Oh, come
to
on.
yeah, I guess I'm not hanging out with the right people. But I turned to the internet, as I think most people have started to do over the last, couple of years, in order to find this Tolkien community that I was craving. And I've always loved writing. I've always loved sharing online. As blogging kind of took off, I really got into that, and I thought, why don't I start a Tolkien website? And it kind of just grew from there.
What's what's the specific meaning for you for Tea with Tolkien?
Well, I mean, everyone loves tea. Everyone loves Tolkien. I really saw it as like I kind of just imagine yourself. I imagine myself like you're just sitting around enjoying. It's like a slow, relaxing experience. You're not rushing through your day with Tolkien. You're having tea with Tolkien. You're savoring it, and you're kind of just enjoying it, being steeped in Middle Earth.
Yeah, I get some of that from the book as well, of the way the chapters are broken down and the
Hmm.
sections
Hmm.
of just kind of, pulling a little bit of background from the story of Frodo and as you mentioned, some of the Bilbo and other characters in there as well,
Um,
and breaking it down a little bit into consumable chunks that you don't have to, have read the whole book. You can kind of dive in and look at a chapter or two and follow along at your own pace.
yeah. Caitlin, one of the things that always kind of occurs to me when I first open any book really is what compelled the author to write it. Where does the idea for the book come about? So the particular book, Into the Heart of Middle Earth, was there like a particular moment when you were reading Tolkien, or reflecting maybe on Fellowship or any character, or when did you realize that this book needed to exist, I guess?
Well, I really I feel like this book is like a culmination of everything that I've done with Tea with Tolkien.
Mm.
And the idea of writing a book isn't something that I had really considered before I was approached by a publisher. And I try to be very receptive when opportunities come my way, even if they scare me, kind of like Bilbo not wanting to go on an adventure. So I had a publisher reach out and ask if I wanted to write a book. And I was like, well, I'd probably be dumb to say no. I probably shouldn't not do this. And so it was then that I started trying to think of what would a book be about. And I really come back to the idea of the hobbit at heart. What does it mean to be a hobbit at heart? It's not just about sitting around and eating mushrooms, even though that sounds great. It's about, going to Mordor and taking these big sacrifices in order to help others, in order to save the world, really. And of course, we probably won't ever have to do something quite so big as that, but hopefully, yeah. I guess you never know.
Yeah.
But it's in these small daily actions that we can make sacrifices, we can show love for each other, we can take care of our community. So it's kind of just bringing all of that together into the book.
Yeah. What in writing the book, was there a particular character, moment, or virtue that was easy, like that made sense and really flowed from your fingers onto the keyboard? And was there a point where it was more difficult to align your faith and your background and the Lord of the Rings story that you were kind of tying these two? The book itself has, a very wide breadth of these virtues that you're combining and showing and aligning with or finding examples from the Lord of the Rings.
I would say the easiest one for me was probably Eowyn or maybe Sam. With Eowyn, she's just this example of great courage. But at the same time, she's really going through a lot of stuff internally when she does decide to ride out into battle. And so maybe it was easy, but it was also difficult, I guess. I would say Sam was definitely the easiest because he's this exemplar of hope and he carries that through the whole story. He starts out, a little more idealistic, but as he really gets closer to Mordor and Frodo is really struggling and he sees all of that, he still doesn't lose his hope and he's really anchored in it. So that carries him through. So I guess that would be the easiest. Eowyn, maybe she was the hardest because there's so much nuance to her story where you think about she wasn't supposed to be on the battlefield. So is she kind of meant to be this rebellious character? And are we not supposed to be in favor of her rebellion? There's a lot that you go through when you're thinking about Eowyn and her journey. So I really enjoyed exploring her character.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite character, Kaitlyn? Like a favorite Tolkien character or Lord of the Rings?
In general?
Yeah, just in general.
Oh man,
it's a tough one, I know.
I feel like Fingolfin is really cool.
Okay, he is really cool. I'll give you that.
He's maybe like the coolest.
Okay.
But of course, Earendil. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I could choose. It would be like picking your favorite kid.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah,
it is. It is. Yeah, and I liked your section on Treebeard and the Ents as well. That was it's a particular favorite section of the Two Towers of mine is the Treebeard chapters and the connection with nature and trying to protect it. And so I liked what you wrote in there as well.
Thank you.
I feel like as I was kind of reading through, I feel like the book invites readers to kind of journey into Middle Earth rather than like analyze it sort of academically. Was that the experience you were kind of going for, like the reader experience you were going for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. I feel like there are so many great academic books about Tolkien, but I'm not really an academic person. I love studying Tolkien as much as I can, but I feel like my role is more to bridge the gap between fandom and academia, and Tolkien academics. So I love to kind of guide people through Tolkien. I feel like that's my role with everything I do, pretty much.
Well, there have been some good guides as well. You had the Silmarillion. I don't remember if it's a primer or a guide or
Yeah,
something, but
yeah.
I enjoyed that, and I think books and guides and other output similar to what you do and exactly what you do are very helpful for fans who are just kind of trying to find their way past the surface reading. They've enjoyed the book. They want to learn a little bit more. Your particular focus is overtly faith related, which is, comes from your background. And I think is helpful. It's been done a little bit before, but I think it's your book in particular is, well, for one, well written, but timely and not pushing too hard on why Catholicism is right and everybody needs to approach it from this way. It's much more of a collaborative, your background, Tolkien's background, and then me, the reader, as the three backgrounds can kind of just look at each other and feel each other out and not try to say anything's the right approach or the best approach, but to help expand my horizons as a reader of your book and of Tolkien to see your viewpoint and to learn a little bit from that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that was really my goal because I feel like as a Catholic, I have a lot of knowledge when it comes to that side of Tolkien's life, and it really interests me and inspires me. But then there are so many people, even in my Tea with Tolkien community, who know like a ton about Norse mythology or about the history of when Tolkien was drafting different things, um, or language. So there are so many different facets to Tolkien, and I want to bring my what I know to the table, and then you can kind of choose what inspires you and carry that with you. And I love the idea of being collaborative, even with the reader. I think that's great.
Yeah, you definitely connected, or you're connecting Tolkien's themes with like saints, Christian traditions, things like that. Uh, I'm curious, was there a particular saint or spiritual insight that kind of fit naturally with what Tolkien's doing with Lord of the Rings or with The Hobbit or anything like that?
Well, I was really excited to kind of dive deeper into this because I actually discovered some saints that I didn't even know about beforehand. Like I had no idea that there was a saint called Saint Brendan the Navigator, and it turns out Tolkien wrote an entire poem about him in the Notion Club papers,
Hmm.
which like was completely new to me. And so that was one of the really fun things about it because you can see, especially in that example, Tolkien is combining his literature and his secondary world with his own belief and kind of putting them together in this really interesting way. And so I loved that and getting to learn that. It was super fun and really exciting for me.
Yeah, the connections that I mean, it's noticeable to myself, Chad, and a lot of people that we talk with about how broad Tolkien's background is, where he's pulling from his education, his background, different languages, his faith, his family, the world wars that he lived through, etc. And I think it's good and appropriate for people with expertise in these different areas to focus in and shine some light into Tolkien's background and how it connects to this is not your book is not academic. We've covered that, but I think it's a great approach to sort of take a guided reading. It's light in giving some background of what's happening in the Lord of the Rings, and then sort of shining a bit more light into the the religious underpinnings, what his background had in there, some history, and these saints that do tie in, and how Tolkien knew of those saints and what he wrote about them. So it's it's well written, and I've really enjoyed going through this book with your guidance basically to go in there. I'm not a Catholic myself, and there have been some other Catholic writers who have approached Tolkien. I'm thinking 20, 30 years ago that are really, Catholicism seen through a lens of Tolkien, and your approach is a lot more, I think, accessible than those books that I've seen in the past.
That means so much to me, because that was a huge goal for me, because I really don't want anyone to feel alienated, or as if I'm saying, I'm Catholic, so Tolkien belongs to me and you can't read Tolkien. It drives me crazy when people say that. So my job here is to just share what I know and hope that you can learn something from it.
Yeah. What, coming out of writing this book, how do you feel your connection to Tolkien has changed or grown, and what do you want to do next? Once you finally get this book out.
So one thing that really I had to learn a lot about myself as I was writing this book is I talk about this idea of being a hobbit at heart. And when you picture someone who might be a hobbit at heart, you might picture them as like living in a farm with chickens and baking bread. And that's not me at all. I don't know how to make bread. I don't have any chickens. I don't feel like I'm the best homemaker. I don't look like a hobbit. I don't dress like a hobbit. So I used to kind of feel bad as I was writing it. Like, am I really the right person to write this book? Because
do I have the street cred to write this book?
Yeah. Am I a hobbit at heart even? I paint my nails black. I listen to, depressing music. But I came to understand through the process of writing the book that it really isn't about those kind of outward appearances. Being a hobbit at heart is about embracing the spirit of the Shire and being willing to let go of certain things in order to save them for others, in the same way that Frodo does, how he has to lose the Shire in order to save it. And you have to be willing to carry your friends like Sam and embrace your heroism. So through the writing process, I was very happy and relieved to learn that, kind of just to come to that realization that we can all be hobbits at heart, even if you're like 7 feet tall, even if you kill your houseplants, even if you hate being outside, those aren't really what makes you a hobbit at heart.
Yeah, it's getting away from I'll call them the trappings of, what you see when you're reading the first few chapters of the Fellowship of the Ring, and it's gardening and pubs and sharing meals, and there's a surface comfort that Tolkien does a great job writing about of just idyllic, low pressure community, etc. But that's not what his focus is on these hobbits. He's taking the common person and putting them into a stressful situation, like writing a book for a publisher who's asked you to do it, and then learning more about yourself and being able to succeed. And so it's your story of writing this book is kind of embodies the book itself in a way, as
it does.
As I was going through it. So yeah, that's and then the last part of that question was next. What when you get this book finished and you've still got your community, this book will be out there. You've learned a bit, and what are you looking to spend some time on? What are you excited about in Tolkien fandom or your own life, or what's pushing you on?
Well, I mean, really, I would like to take a nap. Like, I'm tired. But at the same time, I have so much fun doing all of this. And one of the biggest focuses for my community is a book club. And so we are reading the Silmarillion right now, and we'll be finishing in, I think, the end of February or March. And after that, we're going to do a book club of my book, which will be fun because I'll get to explore it through new readers' eyes, and we'll get to talk through it. But then after that, we're going to do a really long book club of The Lord of the Rings. And it's been a while since I read Lord of the Rings, maybe like two,
that's
2,
a
3
long
years.
book club.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that, just to kind of meander through it together as a community. I think that'll be really fun. And I especially love doing a Lord of the Rings book club after we've done a Silmarillion book club, because then a lot of people are reading the Silmarillion for the first time. And so then when we go into the Lord of the Rings, they're going to have like, it's fun to see it through other people's eyes as they're connecting the dots. There are so many not random, but seemingly random references to the Silmarillion lore throughout the Lord of the Rings that you'll completely miss if you haven't read Silmarillion. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to go through that with people and to kind of guide them through that. I love doing stuff like that.
Yeah. You mentioned this in the book, and I think it's a great point because it kind of aligned with my own experience, which is me personally having a difficulty reading the poems and songs or just skimming over them the first time I read through it, which would have been in, 40, 50 years ago at this point for me. And then after the Silmarillion and going back and connecting like the Beren and Luthien and the other things, the experience is different. And the appreciation of how Tolkien is exposing more of the background through the poetry and the songs and the what Drought calls the textual ruins that he kind of sprinkles through.
Sorry, someone's calling my kid's iPad. I didn't realize it was in here.
These things happen, no problem.
We're gonna leave this part of the video in. Jeremy's gonna leave this part of the video.
That's mom life. I didn't even realize his iPad's right here and his friends are calling him.
Yeah. No worries at all. So I love your approach on doing the Lord of the Rings after the Silmarillion read through with these people to be able to see that. You said you're almost done, like a month or two out on the Silmarillion. What are you enjoying the most right now in your Silmarillion read through? Like what have you noticed or enjoyed with your community?
Besides Fingolfin, what are you enjoying?
We're actually reading the chapter where he dies in like a week, and I know it's going to be devastating for a lot of the people who don't see it coming. So
it's the first time you read it, it's very devastating.
It is, but I kind of really enjoy going through it. As I said, with a lot of people who are reading it for the first time, it's very fun to be able to pull out Tolkien kind of spoils his own stories a lot. And so he'll be like, no man ever came into Doriath except one's going to come later. And so I get to be like, hey guys, pay attention to this line. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you might miss it if you're not paying attention. And it's the same for like when he says no mariner ever came to the Blessed Realm except for one. Then you're like, look, pay attention to this, guys. So I love being able to kind of point out these moments that will have a big payoff later for these people who are reading it for the first time, because I completely missed most of them the first time I was reading the Silmarillion. So I find that really exciting. It's like being there for a big moment in someone's life, even though it's it's just a book club.
It's still a big moment in someone's life, though.
Yeah, it is. I mean, for me, I feel like it is. I always worry if I'm being too like dramatic when it comes to Tolkien, because I'm like, Tolkien will change your life. This is
you're like watching them read it. You're like, what did you think? What did you think about that?
Yeah. Or when Eol is about to die and he kind of lays that prophecy on Maiglin, and I'm like, pay attention.
Yeah. It's I don't run a book club. I have some teenage kids that I tried to get into. I read them The Hobbit. We started into the Lord of the Rings and they petered out. My 20-year-old is doing her first read through of the Lord of the Rings, and I'm really trying to not over pressure. What did you think? What chapter are you on? What's going on?
Trying to not be a helicopter parent with Lord of the Rings.
Just like, it doesn't mean much to me. You can enjoy it or not. Just let me know when you're done. I'm jealous of you having this community that you're able to observe and
that is pretty cool.
Experience it with it, because that is a really cool feeling to see other people discovering Tolkien's writings for the first time.
It is. It's super fun. And then when we finish the Silmarillion, I'm like, are you proud of yourselves? Like, you did it.
It's an accomplishment. It is.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
incredible.
It is.
I can still remember when I read it for the first time, wondering where I was asking myself where all the hobbits were. Like, where are they? I don't understand. There are none in this book. Kaitlyn, if Tolkien could read your book, what do you think he would say about it?
Oh man, he would probably, I don't know. I get the feeling he probably wouldn't like me, maybe just because I'm American. But I mean, I hope he would like it. I hope he would like it. I feel like I try to be so respectful of Tolkien and his legacy and his letters. And, I also feel like he would probably be uncomfortable with the fact that we have all of his letters, because they weren't really necessarily meant for public consumption. So he would be like, wait, you've read all my, it's like we're reading his diary almost. So I don't know. I hope he would be happy with it. That's I don't know. I would hope so, but I don't want to speak for his behalf, speak on his behalf.
Of course. Yeah. And that's a tough question. I mean, it's, he's written enough in his letters and in interview comments that he was deeply uncomfortable with his own popularity.
Yeah, he was.
and
he's even more popular now.
I know. Yeah. I know. Your book is very respectful, and I don't think he would have any issue with it. As opposed to some of the stuff that came out when he was still alive, that was just.
I ask you that, Kaitlyn, because I don't think he would. That's why. That's why I ask you that.
That's good to know. Yeah. Hopefully, he would be happy with it.
I think so. Well, it's for your reading experience. There have been a couple of recent publications. Have you been keeping up with reading, the collected poems or the Bovadium fragments or anything else? We're not getting a whole lot of Middle Earth anymore, but there has been some new stuff that's come out in the last couple of years. But you've been busy writing, so I don't know if you've been able to keep up.
I did get I saw the Bovadium fragments, is that how it's pronounced? At Barnes and Noble the other day. So I grabbed that, but I haven't had a chance to open it yet. And I had the poems in my cart. I almost ordered them on Black Friday because they were on sale, but man, they're kind of expensive. So I've been waiting on that. I did really love The Fall of Numenor, though I know that was a couple of years ago. I devoured that and actually led a book club through The Fall of Numenor. There was 1,000 people in it. It was so cool.
Oh, great. And
then I got to tell Brian Sibley about that. I had him sign my book when I met him at Oxenmoot. And I was like, I love your book. And the copy of the book I have was kind of it had been through some stuff because I was reading a lot, carrying it with me everywhere. And he commented on how it had been well read. And I was like, yeah. And I just led a book club through it. And so that was super cool. And I really loved that book. I would kind of love if we got the more similar things like that.
And you got it signed. That's the kind of stuff we love around here. Signed items, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it signed, and I had him write 2T on it because that's what a lot of people call me. And so excellent. Yeah, I was super excited about that.
That's cool. You've got some good reading coming up for you when you have time and after you've napped.
Yeah.
Seriously, yeah. Maybe we can do a book club through the poems. That would be fun.
Do you have Kaitlyn? Do you have a favorite book? Do you have a favorite Tolkien book? Are you a Lord of the Rings person, Hobbit person, Silmarillion?
Definitely Silmarillion.
Children of Hurin? No.
No, I mean I do like the Children of Hurin. I got to read the Tale of Kalervo a couple years back, and I thought that was really cool. It really gives you so much insight into Tolkien's writing process and the way that myth just evolves. It's almost like Tolkien is writing fan fiction for Norse mythology, which is fun. It's a fun way to think about it. Myth just builds on each other and it changes over the years and it goes from one thing to another. And so I just found that really cool.
Yeah. And he built that into the Lord of the Rings as well. It's, there's a very thin thread. I don't want to say the Lord of the Rings is, mythology fan fiction, but he's pulling that in and he's evolving it.
It is a little bit, a little bit.
Yeah. But you get to there's so many classic works that are just rewriting Dante's Inferno and things that are pulling from previous tellings and stories and the Arthurian legend. You know, Tolkien wrote his own, but that's just one in a long line of
He never
rewriting. And
he started his own. He didn't
yes,
finish it, unfortunately.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
but
just the way that like the great tales go on and we're all connected through these stories that have gone through generations. And then even with like Tolkien adaptations now, they're obviously changing things.
Mhm.
But it's you just see the story kind of living on. And I think that's really fun.
it is, yeah. So yeah, and you've been somewhat more involved than most in some of the retellings, like the Rings of Power, etc. You've been able to talk with, I think, some of the crew. I'm trying to think. The Comic-Con you were present at. So you've how are you liking Rings of Power? Is that as an adaptation more than as a
Pretty
production?
pretty polarizing. Rings of Power, pretty
It is.
polarizing. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I mean, personally, I love it. I think it takes the right perspective. If you're watching it thinking you're going to get, an exact retelling of Tolkien stories, and you're probably going to come away from it feeling a little angry. But for me, I've kind of come to the mindset that it's similar to, it's almost like how Percy Jackson is a retelling of like the Perseus myth. It's
Mhm.
it's like these stories just live on. They're kind of going in different directions, being retold for new generations. And so with that mindset, I've kind of come to you know, the Lord of the Rings, the books are on my shelf. No one's touching them. They can't be
Mhm.
changed. They're not in peril. Everything's fine with the books. They're not going anywhere. And so I can really enjoy these new takes on Tolkien, even if they kind of wiggle around with the lore a little bit and change things, maybe make decisions I wouldn't have. But overall, I love the Rings of Power. It's like, I honestly think about it like every day still, which is wild to me.
How many
That's
times have
cool.
you rewatched it? A lot.
Probably at least like 30. Like I love so deeply. I love the Rings of Power, even though I can recognize that it's not like the perfect. It's not the show I would have written, but for
Mhm.
what it is, I love it.
That's
Are
good.
you a fan of any other adaptations? Do you like the Jackson adaptations? Do you like the Bakshi adaptations, or any other ones you like?
Yeah, I like all of them. I feel like each of them is special in its own way. And even like kind of far out there, like Shadow of Mordor video games, like I
Mhm.
know those were also very polarizing. And I haven't really played them much, but my husband is a gamer a little bit, and I've watched him play it, and I'm like, part of me is like, Tolkien would be rolling over in his grave over this, but I'm also like, this is still kind of fun. There are just so many different ways to enjoy Tolkien, and I think if they bring you back to the books, that's the best part about it.
Yeah, the books underneath it all, I think, is important. I'm a fan of adaptations. I know Tolkien wasn't the biggest fan of a lot, but he kept trying. Like if you go back through his letters
Mhm.
and Skull and Hammond's chronology and poke around, there were dozens of requests to do adaptations, whether they were plays or movies, etc., while he was alive. And he did sell the rights. There's some monetary need that he had in order to do that. But if you look at his responses to the requests, uh, he's negative towards decisions, but he always says yes to the next person who wants to make an
Mhm.
adaptation.
Mhm.
So, it's clear he was very detail oriented and nitpicky about how people adapted, but he continually agreed to requests for new adaptations of his works. So my interpretation of, kind of reading between the lines is, he was always hopeful that someone would make something, an adaptation of his work that he would enjoy. He he
Mm-hmm.
he was continually looking for that, and as you were saying, it's not the adaptation I would have made for any of these. If we're talking Jackson or Bakshi or the BBC Radio
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
the Rings of
Rankin and
Power,
Bass. Rankin and Bass.
yeah, but I'm happy that they're being made because
Yeah.
there's art and there's creativity and there's growth on top of what Tolkien has made, that we get to experience, and there's pieces in there that I love, and I'm always hopeful to see, the next one that comes out. And now we've got more movies in the pipeline and everything. So it's going to be an interesting few years for Tolkien fandom.
Oh yeah, Caitlin, I was going to ask you about what do you think about Hunt for Gollum that's coming out in a couple of years? Are you excited about that?
I don't really know too much about it. I
Okay.
did see that they are potentially going to be kind of talking about like the origins of Smeagol, which I think could be interesting. But I'm a little wary of the rumors I've heard about them using like AI to make the actors look younger. I hope they won't do that. I think that's a little bit, disrespectful. I would love for them to bring in new talent and give a new generation of actors a chance at being a part of Middle Earth. I think if they do it right, it could be really interesting, but I just don't know much about it yet. Do you guys know anything about it?
Only what's been public, I
Yeah.
think. We did an interview with the director of The Hunt for Gollum, the fan film,
Yeah.
which I have seen and really enjoyed. I think that was excellently well done, especially
It
for,
was. It was fantastic for what it was. It was fantastic.
I think it was like 10,000 pounds or something, the entire production. So it was
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
volunteer work, et cetera. So if you haven't seen that, Caitlin, go. It's on YouTube, I think. There's a fan film called The Hunt for Gollum.
I've heard of it. I've seen Born of Hope, but that's
Yep,
from
that's another
someone.
one.
Is that for the same person
No,
or is it
different.
okay?
Those
No,
were
different.
around the same time,
Yeah.
but different crews, different directors. So yeah, look for that one. It's about 40 minutes long, I think. So it's not too much of a time commitment, and it's very. It tries to be very respectful to the appendices and
Yeah.
just
To the source
what
material.
Tolkien wrote on the source material. And the film, I'm certain, just to fill the timeline of a 2 hour plus movie, is going to have a lot more material than just the little appendices that covered the Hunt for Gollum.
Yeah.
So
And I did see there was some talk about using AI to make Viggo Mortensen younger, but I think they've scrapped that. From the latest that I read is I think that they are going to cast a different actor.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I would prefer that. And
Yeah.
I honestly, as I was saying about adaptations, I prefer new crew and new production values just because I want to see another vision. We've gotten a lot of Peter Jackson and Weta over the years, so it's what's coming, and I'm sure I'll see it and find things to enjoy in it. But I'm glad that Amazon is going a different direction, and I'm hopeful. I loved the anime, the War of the Rohirrim, when that came out.
Oh yeah, that was great.
It's being able to see other visions, and that kind of ties back to your book as well. Of just I love seeing your perspective, and I love seeing other people's perspectives on Tolkien and bringing their background together. So it's a common thread of who we interview and the guests that we like talking with is seeing how diverse and broad Tolkien fandom really is.
Yeah, it's really cool. I love seeing everyone else's takes on Tolkien, like you said.
Yeah. What else have we missed? This book's coming out in February, so this video should be up very soon. So just a couple weeks out for that book release. Is it going to be fully widely available, like Amazon and bookstores, etc.? Awesome.
It should be, yeah. It's definitely. I've seen it on it's on Amazon. I've seen it on the Blackwell's website. I've seen it on Barnes
okay.
Noble's website, bookshop.org. So it should be available in a lot of places.
Yep, we'll drop some links into the show notes
We
on
will.
this, so when people are watching this, you'll be able to find your favorite retailer to be able to get that. It's been fantastic talking with you, Kaitlyn. Really looking forward to seeing other people's reaction to your book. Chad and I have already read it and really enjoyed it. It's a great book.
I'm so glad to hear that. That's that means so much to me.
Well, thanks for being here. It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you.
Go out and buy the book.
Go out and buy the book.
Thanks.